Hello everyone, my name is Marco Landry and today I'm going to talk about the Hit-Air Airbag vest system. So this is a great product that will give you an extra layer of protection at the racetrack. The concept is very simple. It's simply something that you wear on top of your regular equipment, and what happens is that you connect your or you tether yourself to another wire that's attached to the subframe of the bike, and you can move freely on the bike because there's this little ball in the back that allows you to move freely on the bike without any obstructions. And as soon as you apply 30 kilo of tensile force on that piggy wire, the CO2 cartridge will be punctured and it will inflate the airbag and will protect your neck, your spinal cord, your back, and your chest. So keep watching. I'll talk a little bit more about the vest itself, and then I'll show you how to install this on your bike. Okay folks, welcome back. So I just wanted to cover a few things before we jump into the install process. So in the back of the vest here, so when I remove the Velcro in the back and I unzip the key box here, you will find out in the back the mechanism that controls everything. So you can see the CO2 cartridge, and the key ball is here. And the key ball allows you to move freely because it's just basically a ball in a socket that moves around. And there's a spring-loaded mechanism in here with a needle in it. And as soon as you apply more than 30 kilo of force on that wire, the CO2 cartridge will be punctured and it will inflate the vest in less than 20 milliseconds. And therefore will protect you from some really bad injuries. And what I really like about this as well is that it's very light. I never feel it. It never really bothers me. The fact that your tether is not a big deal, because even if you try to unmount your bike, once you feel it, you'll realize, oh, I'm tethered to the bike, and it's not enough force to puncture the CO2 cartridge. It's just enough to make you realize that you are still tethered, so it will not blow up by accident if you try to unmount the bike too quickly. So before we get started, let me answer one question that I get all the time. So a lot of people are asking me, is it really worth it? So yes, the short answer is yes, it's really worth it, because if you have an incident, this will greatly reduce your chances of spinal injury or neck injuries. So that was the main driver for me to purchase this unit. And I'm well aware that there's other models out there that don't have a tethering system. It's fully electronic, but you also need to charge it. So charging was a bit of an inconvenience for me, at least. Like, I didn't really want to have to charge the system all the time. And you also don't have the same protection for your neck with these other integrated systems. So that was one of the key drivers for this, and also the fact I can quickly and easily go from bike to bike to bike as long as I have the extra other coil wire that's connected to the subframe. And I also like the fact that if I crash with this vest, if there's no puncture in it, I can still repack it myself, put a new CO2 cartridge, and here I go again, without having to ship this anywhere else or bring it back to a store to get it fixed or loaded. So that was one of the other advantages of that specific unit too. And as you will see in the next few minutes, the installation process is super easy. I just need to figure out where you want to drill a small hole on your bodywork and where to attach the coil wire into the subframe area. So that's it. That's the process to get this mounted on your bike, and that's what I'll be doing in the next few minutes. I'm gonna install the wire and attach it the subframe of the bike, so that after that we can attach the vest itself to the wire connected to the subframe. So let's get started. So the next step now will be to mount this coil wire on the back of the bike. And in order to do so, I will need to drill a small hole where we will fish this coiled wire through the bodywork. But I also need to find a spot on the subframe of the bike where I can secure this properly, because you want to make sure that this is secure to the frame of the bike or the subframe of the bike, and it's going to be solid enough so that if you are ejected from the bike, it's going to hold in place on the frame and make sure that there's enough pressure to pull that pin and puncture that CO2 cartridge. So remember earlier I said that you need to have at least 30 kilograms of tensile force in order to puncture that CO2 cartridge. So that's why you need to anchor this at the right location. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to remove the tank cover and the seat cover here, and then I'll figure out where to drill the hole on the tail of the bike and where to attach it on the subframe as well. Okay, so this is the pigtail here, and when you buy that extra kit, it comes with the female portion that would connect to your vest as well. And well, I guess it's male to male that connects to the vest, and this one connects to the back of the bike. So what I want to do, as I mentioned earlier, is to attach this to a secure location on the subframe, and then I'll have a small hole here in the middle, and I'll fish that wire through, and it comes with a little rubber bushing, and I'll put the bushing here so that this cable is not damaged by rubbing on the fiberglass all the time. What I really like on my R6 is I have the ability to just go underneath and really quickly disassemble that pigtail when I remove the bodywork. And in order to disassemble this, you got this little wing nut here on top, and you simply unscrew that wing nut, and that's how you can remove the tail of your bike. So then you just lift this up and you can undo that cable. And you want to make sure that when you attach this to the subframe, this is going to be wrapped around the subframe and protecting your wire as well. So that's the other thing that you need to keep in mind as well. Figure out what's going to be the best positioning so that you have a nice and tight pigtail that goes through the bodywork and that's attached firmly to the body. So after thinking about this a bit more, I'm going to attach the pigtail in this area here somewhere in the back, and I'm going to try to find like a center spot as much as possible. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I attach this, that I can easily access it from the back of the bike. I'm going to take this apart on a regular basis, so I want to make sure that it's easy to disassemble. I need to be able to take this little adapter or this little contraption here and make sure that I can attach it with the bodywork on the bike, because I won't have a lot of room to go underneath this once this is in place. So actually I might try to do it this way now that I'm thinking about this. It might not be a bad idea after all, because I can probably attach it directly from here. The final product looks like this here. So this is the hole with the bushing on it, and the next step now will be to remove the cover or the small rubber around that wire and push the wire through the top of the fairing here. And once this is done, we'll simply take the little protector here, the tubing, and push the tubing through that wire to make sure that it's well protected when we wrap this around the subframe or the metal parts under the bodywork. So I'm having a bit of a technical challenge here, so I'm going to put a little bit of grease on it, and hopefully it's going to slide a bit better, because I've been trying this for the last few seconds here, last few minutes, and I'm not getting a lot of luck. So hopefully that little bit of grease will do the trick. Okay, so now I'm back to my original task of trying to figure out where to attach this wire in the back. Once you attach the loop setter around your subframe, make sure that you have a little knot on the loose end of that wire, this one here. So make sure that you have a little knot right here, because if something was to pull really hard on this wire, you don't want this to slip through. So having this little knot will prevent this and will maximize your chances of having a proper trigger or inflation of your airbag. So again, just make sure that you have this little knot as close as possible to the loop setter. So this is the final product. So you can see that there's a very short distance. So if I zoom this in here a bit, you can see that there's a very short distance. So it's enough to be able to move from side to side. And when I connect the vest, you'll see that with the vest connected on the bike, when I'm gonna lean over, I can still lean over at the proper angle. Or if I do it on this side here, you'll see it a bit better. So I'm still able to go quite far and lean, and the cable will stretch. And if I go further in this, then obviously it will pull on that key ball, and then obviously the CO2 cartridge will open up and will fill the bag. So as soon as you are, exceeding that distance from the bike, either because of a low side or high side or falling, you will have the protection required to protect you when you fall. So that's it for the installation process, guys. That's what it looks like. You just have to make sure that you don't have too much slack here, and you also want to make sure that this cable won't stretch too far out. So the other option would have been to drill that hole here, and this way it would have been a bit tighter. But in my case, I move quite a bit on the bike, and I'd rather have a bit more freedom, so that gives me enough freedom to go on both sides. So some people will drill the holes on one side or the other side because it's closer and easier to attach a subframe. I'd rather make my life a bit more complex and make sure that this is centered and I have the same amount of play on both sides of the bike. So one thing that's worth mentioning as well is that when you connect your vest, if you find that the wire goes too far out, you can always reduce the length of that coiled wire by using an extra loop setter like this here. So the loop setter is what we've used to attach the wire under the bodywork, but you can order an extra one as well, and it allows you to shorten the amount of distance that you will have to move with your vest before puncturing or inflating the vest. So that's the process to install the Hit-Air airbag system on your bike with the pigtail. As you saw, this is fairly easy. You just have to make sure that you have a good grip or a good anchor point for the pigtail or that wire in the back of the bike. And you also have to make sure that there's not too much slack in that cable. And other than that, that's it. So now you have enough protection if something bad was to happen to protect your neck, your spinal cord, your back, your lower and upper back, and also your chest. So super good product. Super happy with it. It's been very reliable. So people that I know that have been using this that had a bad incident or bad crash were super happy that they had this. That was a no-brainer in their mind to reinvest money in those products. So I highly recommend it. If you are living in Eastern Canada, my good friend Eric is the rep for Hit-Air in Eastern Canada. And I'll link everything below so you can contact Eric and ask him a question. He's going to be more than happy to help you out. And if not, hitair.com is your source of information for these products. So guys, that's it. That was the video for today. And if that video was helpful, please smash that like button. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, as usual, post them below or connect with me on social media. And as usual, stay safe with one of those. Ride safe, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.